All right. Hello, everybody. We are back for day 2 of our article on beavers for English for You. I'm Kat.
I'm Elsie.
And we're talking, like I just said, about beavers. They're great. They have many abilities that help the natural world and help us too.
Okay, so what can they do? Let's review.
They build lodges and dams, which, what do they do?
They help the river to have an area that is a pond.
They create ponds, which give room for more life.
Yes.
Yeah, and they also clean the water and make the soil richer.
Right.
Yeah, so they can make more plants, they can bring more animals, they can also help to stop forest fires with those ponds.
And they look cute too.
They do. They are very cute. I like when they slap the ground or the water with their tail.
Yeah.
The big flat tail. They have such cute tails. Yeah.
So, do you want to have a beaver?
I don't think I want to have a beaver because I've heard that they really like to chew things. That beavers that get rescued tend to chew people's walls, and then they try and build dams out of objects in your house.
Okay, so they might chew your furniture in the house.
They probably would.
To build their own lodges.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, here's a table with wooden legs. I can build a house out of this. But you don't want them to do that. Yeah. So anyway, we are going to tell you more about why beavers are great for us and great for the natural world in today's article. Let's take a look.
Reading.
Beavers, nature's little helpers. However, despite all the good beavers do for the planet, they still faced extinction. For years, beavers were hunted for their fur, which was mainly used to make hats. Beavers were almost wiped out in North America and Europe. It was not until the end of the 19th century that laws to protect beavers were made. Since then, beaver populations have recovered, while the fur industry has almost vanished. People still sometimes view beavers in a negative way, though. Since they cut down trees with their teeth to build their dams, they can cause great damage to forests and parks. There are other reasons, too. For one thing, they sometimes eat crops. For another, the water in beaver ponds can cause flooding if the dams break too quickly. To deal with these problems, beaver experts say working with the animals is a win-win solution. Fences can be put up to keep beavers away from certain areas, and pipes can be put into dams to manage flooding. In these ways, all the benefits beavers bring to the natural world can be retained.
All right, so yesterday we spent a lot of time talking about the good that beavers do for nature and for all of us. And this article starts out with however. We don't like it when things start out with however after a good day. However, despite all the good beavers do for the planet, they still faced extinction. Past tense, faced. That doesn't mean today, right? Yeah.
好啦，所以在今天的文章当中呢，我们看到了 however 开头，看到 however 代表前面我们讲的都是好事，现在要讲一些不好的事情了。然而呢，尽管河狸们为了这个地球做了那么多好事，他们还是曾经面临灭绝的问题。那我们还看到 despite 这个介系词，在这句话里头，因为它是介系词，所以你后面只能加上名词或 BING， 代表尽管虽然。那我们还可以用 in spite of 来做代换。那另外呢，我们还看到一个名词叫做 extinction， 它代表是灭绝、绝种。形容词呢，我们可以说 extinct。
So, if they were once facing extinction or nearly went extinct, I wonder why. And the article tells us, for years, beavers were hunted for their fur, which was mainly used to make hats. Yeah, that's true. I think in the region where I come from, fur trapping, especially beavers, used to be a really big thing. So fur here is a noun that means the hair that covers a mammal. Mammals are animals like us, like mice, like dolphins, things like that. Usually fur is short, straight, and thick. Not like our hair. We do not have fur we have hair and we have body hair. So cats, dogs, bears, foxes, beavers, and so on, they have fur. Some bugs also have something that looks like fur, like some spiders. I think
caterpillars.
I think furry caterpillars and furry spiders are actually kind of cute. So
No, they aren't.
I think they are. Well, anyway, if something is covered in fur, we call it furry. And usually furry things are seen to be cute, like our teddy bears. They're usually furry, or other stuffed animals, or cats and dogs. I like to pet furry dogs. Yeah. For example, this dog's fur is so thick that I can't even put my hand all the way through it. I know a dog like that at a cafe. I keep trying to find his skin, but I can't find it. I cannot, because he's a winter dog. He's like a dog from the north. Yeah.
OK， 那 fur 这个字呢，同学们应该都知道了，它指的是动物的软毛或是毛皮。所以动物的毛发你叫它 fur， 人类的你说 hair。那这里呢，我们还用了2个被动态哦，一个是 were hunted， 另外一个是 was mainly used， 来表示呢，多年来河狸们因为它们的毛皮而被猎捕，那它们的毛皮主要被用来制成帽子。
So, yeah, furs are not a great thing, and I wish that people wouldn't wear them now. But unfortunately, there's still like a fur industry in fashion. It's not great. But beavers, thankfully, are not hunted for their furs anymore. The article says beavers were almost wiped out in North America and Europe. So those are their 2 main places, so that means they were almost wiped out completely. Now, to wipe something out means to get rid of it or get rid of a group of something completely. So towns get wiped out by storms, people get wiped out in wars, animals are sometimes wiped out by humans. So if beavers were wiped out, that means they would be extinct. There would be no more beavers. Thank goodness the beavers weren't wiped out. In other words, they didn't vanish, they weren't wiped off the face of the earth, they didn't disappear without a trace. None of these things happened.
They survived.
Yeah, they did. So an example sentence for wipe out: some of the weapons that people developed in World War II could wipe out entire cities.
Wipe out 这个动词片语呢，代表彻底消失或是彻底摧毁。那这边呢，又用了另外一个被动态是 were almost wiped out， 也就是呢，过去河狸们在北美和欧洲几乎被灭绝。那我们来造一个 wipe out 的例句哦。During the war, Hiroshima and Nagasaki were wiped out by the atomic bombs， 也就是二战期间呢，日本的广岛和长崎被2颗原子弹彻底摧毁。
So thankfully they've rebuilt those cities now, but yeah, they were flattened. Anyway, so now we're talking about beavers. It was not until the end of the 19th century that laws to protect beavers were made. And that's a good thing, because I think, probably a bit longer and there wouldn't be any beavers.
今天的英文练功房呢，我们要看到一个句型哦，它是 it is 或是过去式 it was not until 加上某个时间之后，再加上 that 带出来的子句。Not until 这2个字呢，组合成的句型用来表示某件事直到某个时间点才发生。那我们先来看一个简单的例句哦。He wasn't home until 2:30 this morning. 直到今天早上2点半他才到家。那如果在这个句子里头我们要强调时间点，那我们就可以用分列强调句型，就是我们今天要说的。For example, it was not until 2:30 this morning that he got home. 那课文这边说到的是 It was not until the end of the 19th century that laws to protect beavers were made. 代表的是呢，直到19世纪末，保护河狸的法律才被制定出来。要强调时间是19世纪末，所以我们用了分列强调的句型。那这一句我们也可以说 Laws to protect beavers weren't made until the end of the 19th century.
All right, so the end of the 19th century, some laws were made to protect beavers, and luckily they worked. The article says, since then, beaver populations have recovered, while the fur industry has almost vanished. So we have population here, which is one of the words that means like the amount of animals or the number of animals or people. So you can have populations of people, you can have populations of beaver or other animals, and they almost vanished, but they did not vanish. So one thing that has vanished is the fur industry, but let's learn what vanish means. Vanish is almost the same as wipe out, but kind of from the other direction. So to wipe out means to make something vanish. Vanish means to disappear completely. If something vanishes, that means there's nothing left of it. A magician might vanish into thin air, meaning they're there 1 second and the next, they're gone. That would be vanishing. Now, an example sentence, you could also talk about your feelings. My worries about my grade vanished as soon as the teacher handed the exam back. I'd gotten 95%.
Good job!
Yay!
OK, 所以 vanish 这个动词呢，它代表的是快速消失。那另外我们还有说到的 population 代表的是人口或是动物总数。Beaver populations 指的就是各地河狸的总数。自从那个时候开始啊，河狸的总数恢复，但是 fur industry 皮草产业几乎消失。那这个句子当中呢，我们用了2个现在完成式来表示从法律被制定之后到现在已经发生的事情，分别是 have recovered and has almost vanished。While 这个连接词呢，在这边它是连接相反的2件事，一件呢是河狸总数 have recovered 已经恢复，另外一件则是皮草产业 has almost vanished 几乎消失。
So that's good. They're no longer hunted for their fur. I don't think I know anybody who has a beaver fur anything unless it's from at least, 100 years or more ago. So the article says people still sometimes view beavers in a negative way, though. So just because they're not hunted doesn't mean everybody likes them. So negative here is an adjective that means not positive, not good or bad for something. So if you feel something negative or view something in a negative way, that means you think it's a bad thing and you think it shouldn't be tolerated. You don't like it. You say, ugh, I don't like this thing. I don't like beavers. They're a negative thing. Many people feel negatively, that's the adverb form, about certain beliefs or people they don't like. Being negative about the future means you think nothing good will happen. It's okay to be negative sometimes, to feel negative sometimes, but also try to see the positive side of things, especially when it comes to beavers. I think that they are a positive animal. So here's an example sentence for negative. Annie was very negative about the project and complained the whole time she was doing it.
Negative 这个形容词呢，代表就是负面的、不好的。那相反就是 positive. So you can be negative sometimes, but like Kat said, always try to look on the bright side.
Yeah.
Be positive.
That's right.
那课文这边说到呢，即便如此，人们有的时候还是视河狸为有害的生物。They think they are negative animals.
Yeah. And I wonder why. Well, the article says, since they cut down trees with their teeth to build their dams, they can cause great damage to forests and parks. Great damage? Really?
很大的伤害吗？
I don't know about that. I don't
Okay.
think there's enough beavers to cause great damage, but maybe a little bit of damage, sure.
那这边呢，在解释为什么他们会把河狸视为不好的生物、有害的生物。用到了一个连接词叫做 since， 注意哦，它在这边是一个连接词，所以我们要解释为因为，也就是 because 的意思。那再来呢，我们还看到 cause great damage to something， 代表是对某物造成极大的伤害。因为河狸们用牙齿啃断树木来建筑他们的水坝，他们会对森林和公园造成伤害，很大的伤害。
Yeah, apparently. But I think beavers usually only cut down like small trees because they can only get their teeth around like a certain amount.
Yeah, because their teeth are actually not that big, right?
I mean, they keep growing their whole life, but I think their teeth are about this long. Yeah.
Okay.
And they just chew around the entire tree. You can see like it goes to a point and then, the tree falls over. Yeah, they
Sounds cute.
It is cute. Like if you've ever seen a beaver-eaten tree, you can definitely tell it's beavers that have done it because the tree goes up to a point and then the other part is to a point because they just eat into the middle and then it falls. Yeah, and then they take it back and use it for their dam. I come from an area with lots of beavers, so I've seen this. So of course, we've already seen one reason that people might view beavers in a negative way, but the article says there are other reasons too. So it says, for one thing, they sometimes eat crops. Ooh. So for another, the water in beaver ponds can cause flooding if the dams break too quickly. That makes sense. Those are actual problems which I think people could be concerned about. So the first thing we have to learn about is the word crops. Let's take a look. When we talk about crops, a crop means anything that farmers will grow to sell as a business or grow for eating. or it could grow for, human use. It could be grains like rice or corn, that's a crop, fruits and vegetables, or anything like that. So you could also grow crops for things like skincare, or you could grow crops for things that are not necessarily eaten, but anything that uses a vegetable, you'll probably have to grow it on a farm. So that would be a crop. And we need crops. Crops are grown in large amounts, so you have entire fields, entire forests, or trees that are growing things on a farm. And if beavers eat crops, then that could be a problem. So here's an example. The farmer uses large machines to harvest his crops every year.
在这个句子当中呢，我们还看到了 for one thing 这个片语，它可以用来引出呢导致某结果的第一个原因。那第二个原因我们会用 for another 或者是 for another thing 带出。造成伤害的原因之一是呢，河狸们有时候会吃农作物。另一个原因是，若水坝太快溃堤，池塘中的水可能会导致淹水。
So how do they deal with beavers? The article says to deal with these problems, beaver experts say working with the animals is a win-win solution. Yeah, I've heard about this. So to deal with, it means to find a way to solve or live with a problem, or to somehow make the problem not a problem anymore. Sometimes the things we think are problems are not really that big a deal. If we deal with it or accept it, sometimes we feel happier. Although in this case, we can also solve it by working with beavers.
Deal with 这个片语呢，代表处理应付。We can deal with the problem 处理应付一个问题 ，deal with the person 处理应付一个人，或者是 deal with the situation 处理应付一个状况。For example, we've never encountered this kind of problem, so we don't know how to deal with it. 我们从来没有遇过这样的问题，所以我们不知道如何应付处理它。
So thinking about how to deal with something, you want to find a solution. A solution is a noun that means the thing you get when you solve a problem. Solve and solution actually come from the same word. Solution is the noun form of solve instead of solvtion. That would be silly. Solution can also mean something in science or math, but here it just means the answer to a problem or a question. So an example sentence might be, I think the best solution to your fight with your parents is to talk with them calmly and make an agreement between everyone.
Solution 这个名词呢，它代表的是解决办法。那注意哦，介系词我们用的是 to，the solution to the problem.
So the article says fences can be put up to keep beavers away from certain areas, and pipes can be put into dams to manage flooding. So that's two solutions right there, but let's go ahead and learn about the word fence. Talking about fences, a fence is a long outdoor wall made of wood, wire, or metal. It's to keep certain areas separated, but not for making buildings. You might have a fence around a park or around a prison, or to keep cows or sheep in the same field. Many people also have fences around their houses and yards. So for an example sentence, my family put a fence around our garden to stop animals from eating our vegetables.
我们这边说到呢，搭设围篱可以让河狸远离特定的区域。那在水坝当中啊，设置排水管也可以解决淹水的问题。
So there are different solutions. I've also heard that people can start to build a dam in a place that they want it and kind of destroy the other dam and say, hey, beavers, look at this dam that you can make. And don't make that other one. Make this one. And they will actually do it.
Okay, so they do help human beings.
Yeah, they do. So anyway, the article says, in these ways, all the benefits beavers bring to the natural world can be retained. So to retain means to keep something the same way or keep something in good shape. In other words, we can keep beavers working on our side and working for nature.
Retain 这个动词呢，代表保留、留住。那课文当中用被动 can be retained， 代表呢，藉由这些方法可以保留河狸们带给自然世界的好处。
All right, so I hope you've learned something about our useful animal friends, beavers. And right now, that's the end of our article, so we're going to go to our For You chat.
For You chat.
All right, so our For You chat question for today, what animals cause problems in your life? And how can you deal with them? I think of all sorts of parasites and bugs.
I think of rats.
I don't think of rats as causing problems for me because I haven't had one in my house yet, thank goodness. But I think of, fleas. My cat My cats had fleas a couple of years ago, and it was really, really, really hard to get rid of them. And they just made life really hard, and it really sucked.
Really? And I think caterpillars do bring trouble.
Really?
Really.
Why?
Because once a caterpillar was crawling on my body, and the next day I got all the red spots on my neck.
Oh, probably it was a poisonous caterpillar. Not all of them are, though.
Not sure.
But anyway, so yeah, maybe you can think of some that are not bugs or some other kind of bugs like mosquitoes also cause problems. But thankfully, beavers do not cause us any problems. And so we are going to end it there, and we are going to say goodbye to you. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review. Fur. Many animals don't like to have their fur cut because it makes them feel strange. Vanish. Sadly, many forests have vanished because people keep cutting down trees. Negative. Gas-powered cars are starting to be seen in a negative way because they pollute the environment. Crop. Farmers are very happy this year as their crops have been growing very well. Solution. Tim was feeling unhappy at work, so he decided to speak to his boss in order to find a solution. Fence. Jack put up a new fence in his garden in order to stop his neighbor from seeing into his house.
智慧小补帖
Extinction. Retain.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作。活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net